Hi guys, my name's Sami from Pioneer DJ and I'm back at the DJ shop to look at our new 2-channel controller, the DDJ-800.
Start your computations from time 1.
So the first thing I'm going to mention is the layout of the unit. So we have a clear separation from our mixer and deck section. The reason why I like this unit is because it does inherit a lot of features from our Nexus 2 and DJM-900 Nexus 2 range, which is great for if you're practicing at home and want to walk into the club and feel like you are playing on the same equipment you have in your bedroom. Let's go straight in, cover the mixer section from top to bottom, and then we'll move over to the deck side. Anything I mentioned on this side, it is mirrored exactly the same on the left hand side. So let's go straight in. At the top here, we have our rotary selector to scroll for our tunes. And on the left and right, we have load for each side. If we double tap these, it will do an instant double, which means it will load the same track that's on, say for instance, the left deck. If I double tap load on the right, it will load the same track on the right hand side. Just below that, we have a switchboard to switch between deck 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and line and phono. While I'm on line and phono, just to mention, this is DVS ready and you can plug your turntables through the back and use your 3-band EQ for your mixing. And you do that again by switching through the switchboard. Previously on our previous ranges, we've had a button around this area here that means you can toggle between deck 1 and 2. We've changed this and put it at the top of the unit, and for me it works a lot better and it's a lot more fluent when you're mixing. Our secondary option, which is playlist palette and related tracks, all you have to do is hold the shift and press back or view, and then you will then go into the secondary option. Related tracks is a great one, guys, because it allows you to find your next mix without having to scroll through all your music collection. Moving down from that, we have 3-band EQ with trim and our sound color pots. With our sound color pots, we have filter, noise, dub echo, and pitch. Let's go in and have a little look to see what they sound like. Filter, that's the high pass, and that's the low pass filter. Noise, dub echo, and pitch. Just below that, we have our headphone cue to master and our level adjust. Another thing that's great about this controller, like I said before, it inherits all the features from our Nexus range, and it's great that we have got this on the left hand side because it's where I'm used to kind of doing my level adjust, and when I walk into a club I always feel at home because I always know where it is. So on the right hand side of the mixer, we have our master at the top, we have our cue and a booth. Just to mention, having the master and booth is key because it means you can fit this in a club setup and it is perfect. Just below that, we have a little screen to show you what beat effect you're on, and then we have your parameters for your beat effects. Now here I can switch between 3, 1, 2 and 4. We also have the master and the sampler. While I'm on this, just to show you, it's great because you can add like a little bit of reverb to your samples and they just don't sound as raw. And with our volume adjust in the middle here, you can really kind of add these to your mix now and they're just seamless. They don't seem like it's a sample that's just shouting at you. The first thing I need to do is switch over to my sampler. Make sure I am on reverb and set my parameters to 50%. My wet and dry, have it at medium at the minute, but turn it on. When I press a sample, for instance, I'm going to use a horn, I'm going to use my volume to bring it in. And you can hear what that sounds like. It just sounds like pretty clean, but adding the reverb makes a massive difference to the mix. Another one I really like from the 14 beat effects we have on the DDJ-800 is the Mobius saw and Mobius triangle. Again, these are on the DDJ-1000, but they're not on any other unit that Pioneer has brought out. Now, you don't need any sound going through the mixer to play these beat effects. It is routed straight through the software itself. That one was Mobius saw, and now I'm going to go over to Mobius triangle. As you can hear, they're both two different tones, and as you go through the beat parameters, this allows you to kind of change the vibe, and especially when you're doing a build up, these are great to kind of add into your mix. The last three things I want to mention is the mic section, the aux, and then I'm going to go into the overall usage of this as standalone. So the mics, we have two mic inputs, and then on both of them we have 2-band EQ and a switchboard for on and off. Just below that we have your aux. Now with the mics, we've added something new. We've added something called a feedback reducer, and as you can see on Rekordbox we have 1 and 2. Now on each mic we can add 3 different effects, so we can have either echo, reverb or pitch, and to select it all you need to do is press it and it will turn to blue, which means that it is now on that effect. Now the effects, you can do the wet and the dry here, and they sound really good. And the last thing that we've added, which is for me a game changer, is the feedback reducer, where you can pick between heavy and light. Now what this does, when people are using the mic for speeches and you get that howling sound when they put it next to a speaker, this will basically reduce that massively, and it basically allows confidence when passing the mic around the room. The last thing I want to mention about the mixer is when you're using it for standalone use. Like I said previously, you can toggle between your 2, 3 and 4, and also have line and phono, which means you can have either CDJs or turntables plugged into the back. Now when you're using these, you can only use your 3-band EQ with trim and also your faders. You can't use the beat effects or the sound color effects because these are all software based, but don't worry because you can still use your main mixing section, which is mainly what you'd want to use it for. So now we're going to move over to our deck side, and we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. First we're going to concentrate on our pads and the pad modes. So here we have 8 RGB pads that we can use our page select to switch to another 8, which essentially means we have 16 pads to work with our pad modes. You can also change the color of these like I did on Rekordbox by right clicking over your hot cue, and then you can pick your color. The different pad modes we have are hot cue, pad effect 1, beat jump, sampler, and by going into our secondary option with the shift button, we go into keyboard, pad effect 2, beat loop and key shift. I'm going to explain 2 of these modes that are on the DDJ-1000 and been kind of one of our most talked about pad modes, and that is keyboard and key shift. Now what keyboard does, it allows you to go up and down in key from a desired hot cue. So as you can see, I've gone onto the secondary option and they are all flashing. The reason why this is flashing is because it's asking me to pick a hot cue, and I'm going to pick this one here. So from here I'm able to go up and down in pitch by using my pads. And then you can go in and widen your parameters. So this is going down in key, and if I go to the left I can go all the way up. The great thing is as well, on the on-jog display it's letting you know which key you're going into. And then if I hold shift and go on the key sync, it also acts as a key reset and gets me back to my key that it was first in. Or essentially you can press this button here and it will take you straight back to your right key. The next one, key shift mode, is a little different. Keyboard asks you to trigger it from one hot cue. Key shift allows you to change key wherever you want in the track. So if I hold shift and go into key shift, play my track. And then again I can widen the parameters. And I'll go to my key reset to sync it back to the normal key. It's a really cool trick to kind of use on the fly to definitely surprise your crowd, and if you can do it on like a 1-note track, it sounds really cool. Just to the right hand side of this, we have our pitch fader, which is the same size as a pitch fader that is on the DDJ-1000 and was very popular because it is the same size that is on our Nexus 2000s. Moving up from this section, we're going to have a quick look at our search function here. So this does what it says on the tin. It allows you to search for your tune. But there's also another thing you can do which is really cool. So if you want to go for your tune a lot quicker, imagine your platter here as almost like a clock. We've got 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock. Imagine as that as like the different points within the tune. So here is a quarter of the way through the tune. Directly 6 o'clock is halfway through, and 9 o'clock is 3/4 of the way. When I hold search and I use my jog wheel, I can search through the tune by a quarter, halfway through, 3/4, and then I know that'll be the end of the tune. And it's just an easy way to go through your tune and find the different places that you want to play it from. Moving up from that, we have our shift. And when we double tap shift, it toggles between having the on jog display where you can see your waveform, your BPM, and many more different things, or you can double tap it and it'll switch to your waveform. So the shift button on the DDJ-800 allows you to do two things: go into your secondary option and also toggle between your on-jog display. So we can look at the on-jog display by having your waveform and your key and BPM, or when I double tap it and then switches to have full artwork display. You can also go into your settings in Rekordbox and tidy your display up to have what you kind of prefer. For me, I like it like this because it means I have all my information and I don't always have to constantly look at the laptop itself. But if you like to have just artwork, or if you like to have more of the artwork shown on this screen, you can do that within Rekordbox. While I'm on the jog wheel, I kind of want to stick to this and tell you a little bit more about it. So this is a little bit smaller than the DDJ-1000 if people are trying to compare sizes. If you know our SX2, SX3, it is the same size jog wheel. Apart from this being the first 2-channel controller to show on-jog display, we also have a jog adjust, which is key. The reason why this is great is because this allows you to practice at home and see the type of tension that you like on your jog wheel, and then when you walk into the club you can set it to the exact same on the CDJ, so it's basically like you're playing from your home setup. To the left of the jog wheel we have slip mode and then slip reverse. And then to the top of that we have your looping section with loop in, loop out, and then also your loop adjust by using your secondary option. We have your exit and your quantize. To the right of that we have cue call, delete and memory. And what that means is you can call between your different cue points, and then on the fly you can create your own cue points and then delete them as well. We have our beat sync, our master, key sync and reset, and then on the DDJ-800 we actually have a button for your tempo range, and then last but not least we have your master tempo button. So at the back of the unit we have 1/4" jack for our booth. We have RCA for our master and XLR. For our channels, we have RCA and a switchboard between line and phono. For our mic 1, we have a combi jack with a little bit of headroom volume here. We have a 1/4" jack for the second mic with some headroom for extra gain. And for our aux, we have RCA. And last but not least, we have one input for USB. So that, guys, is the DDJ-800. If you like what you saw, come down to the DJ shop in Southampton and come and have a play for yourself. They've also got a new DJ booth where you can get a full experience what it's like to DJ in a club setup.